outside and among nature, Corey Barnes' job is hard but rewarding.
I liked the idea of working outdoors, and I've always wanted to own my own business.
But the latest lockdown in New South Wales has cut his expectations, and he's worried about the future.
Very scared, very worried about our businesses, whether we're going to be able to continue.
More than 18 months into the pandemic, support for businesses and workers is still uncertain when parts of the economy are shut down to control the spread of the virus. Many are left out. As the crisis began, banks were receiving a year's worth of calls a week. That's slowed down, but there are ongoing concerns among the 4.9 million customers Rachel Slade looks after at NAB.
Well, there's certainly a bit of fatigue, particularly amongst businesses about the, on again, off again. We hear that from customers.
At one stage, the JobKeeper wage subsidy was supporting 3.5 million people, almost a third of the workforce. Since the $90 billion scheme was dismantled, it's been replaced by a system of payments similar to those received by victims of natural disasters.
The disaster payments scheme is a real patchwork and largely inadequate scheme because it's missing a great deal of people.
Since being introduced, more people are now eligible for the payments, and for some, they're as much as the previous wage subsidy.
And unlike JobKeeper, these payments were made based on the number of hours each worker had lost, as opposed to the turnover reduction in the business that they had worked for.
Corey has been getting the disaster payments, but business support that would have allowed him to keep staff on has been too difficult to access.
We haven't applied for it because it's just too hard. Myself and other business owners in this industry have decided that it's just too much, too many hoops to jump through.
He's had to let 2 subcontractors go and an apprentice.
I just couldn't afford to feed myself, let alone have him on.
Decisions like that are troubling economist Alison Pennington.
Providing decent income supports to businesses and people to keep people home, to stop transmission, to bring the lockdown to an end as quick as possible is necessary.
She says stopping the spread means, in many cases, temporarily stopping commerce and paying casual, cash in hand and vulnerable workers to isolate when needed.
There have been reports of workers doing their tests, coming up to work and working while they're infectious and transmitting while in the workplace. So those test and isolate payments nip that in the bud and support that worker to stay home.
We're still building the economic response that can stop the spread of the virus and support the community.
Okay, good morning Queensland. I have some really important news today.
Good to be back, we've got lots to get on with.
But unfortunately, we had an increase in case numbers from yesterday.
That makes the challenge so much harder.
JobKeeper was far from perfect. The turnover of many companies rose. Some used it to bolster their bottom line, pay bonuses or give dividends to shareholders. But with our vaccine rollout well behind comparable countries and lockdowns across the nation, businesses and workers are on a roller coaster.
The confidence isn't there. That's, I guess, worry in the back of my mind that we may not be able to grow. We may have to close up shop.
Trimming the outlook for growth.